not having so much weight now, on him too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. He lost a lot of weight, didn't he?
Yeah, it needs some weight.
Over the last like month and a half, he went like literally lost 35 kilos in the last month. And I turned around to the mum, I said, something's not right there if he's losing that much weight that quickly.
You will see them putting food through the tube,
Yeah.
and it's, what's it doing any good?
No. Just go for the other end.
Yeah.
It's like the stomach was not absorbing anything. Like I said, it was either coming up one way or going out the other way. You know what I mean?
So you don't know too when we had cancer.
No, no, you don't.
No.
Yeah.
Just imagine he wouldn't wear a mask.
Oh, he did.
And then what he'd say,
He said it was a nightmare when he had it on.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's like, why do I gotta wear this bloody thing? He's like, no, get it off.
I
I
know.
remember the first day, the first couple of weeks in the hospital when I was going to bed. He said, well, have a good thing about.
What do you think of the centipede?
And I said, that is
Sam.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think of the centipede?
Last time I spoke to him, he was
In the
crying
car,
and
car.
everything.
Yeah.
And I said, look, don't cry. Ask him for something so you can relax.
Yeah.
As soon as you relax,
Yeah.
he'd home out of there, he wanted to come home. And then when I rang up on the Monday, I was sort of wondering, oh, how come he's not answering? Now I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the James family, we warmly welcome everybody to Tobin Brothers Achievements of Life Chapel today for the funeral service for Robert David James, affectionately known as Rob, to the family. Rob's service will be held entirely in this chapel. And I said everybody because I know with the restrictions we're currently living under, we can unfortunately only have very small numbers in chapel. So I welcome those that have just tuned in via the webcasting to watch Rob's service today. So again, welcome you. Hope you feel a part of the service with the family, and I'm sure the family can feel your presence as well. My name's Hugh Tobin from Tobin Brothers Funerals, and along with Serafino and Walter, who are my two colleagues here today, we're pleased to assist those of you with us this morning. So following Rob's service, he will be privately cremated. So I then welcome those here with us today to then enjoy some refreshments in the foyer. If I could just take this moment just to ask all of you here just to check mobile phones just one more time, just to make sure they're switched off or on silent during the service. Thanks very much. And it's my pleasure to welcome our celebrant here today leading the service for Rob. We have Megan Thompson, so thank you very much, Megan. But we're going to sit quietly in the chapel and invite those of you also at home to do likewise, and we're just now going to listen to the opening piece of music chosen by the family. Thank you.
In your side, I'll wait for you. Sleight of hand and twist of fate, on a bed of nails she makes me wait, and I wait without you, with or without you. With or without you. Through the storm we reach the shore. You gave it all, but I want more. And I'm waiting for you. With or without you.
With or without you. On behalf of Sandra, Kylie, Gordon and Tara, I would like to warmly welcome you all here today. Welcome to those physically here with us and also to those joining us via video link. My name is Megan Thompson and I'm honoured to be the celebrant leading this funeral service, celebrating the life of Robert David James. Today we come together to remember Robert and to remember the man he was, to share stories and to remember the good times. Today we come together to celebrate his life as we begin the process of healing and saying goodbye. After the service today, you are all invited to stay as food and refreshments will be served right here in the Glenroy Chapel. Robert's family are keen to catch up with you and to share in all the beautiful memories that you have of him. This service today for Robert is without doubt a celebration of his full life. As with any funeral service, we gather to mourn a loved one, pay tribute to their life, comfort one another, and give our support to each other. Whilst I know that it is incredibly sad that Robert's life has come to an end, he would not want us to dwell on the sadness of his passing. Robert was a man who loved and was loved so much by his family, friends, and the wider community. Today we will be celebrating his 65 years on this earth, honouring his memory and hearing from some of those dearest in Robert's life. Robert was a lot of things to a lot of people. He was a brother to Shirley, Alan, Hazel and Diane, a loving husband to Sandra, and a doting father to Kylie, Gordon and Tara. When I spoke to Robert's family last week, I learned a lot about this remarkable man. When describing Robert, 2 words that came up quite frequently were hard working. Robert always worked hard and had a number of different jobs throughout his life. His number one priority was to always look after his family, and he did this right up until the very end. Some other words the family used to describe Robert was a gentle giant and a big teddy bear. Robert always had time for people, and he adored spending time with his family, not just his immediate family, but also his extended family. He was very much a lovable uncle to all of his nieces and nephews. Although he has now left this earth, he leaves behind an abundance of beautiful memories. So let us now spend some time to look back upon Robert's life. Robert was born at the Royal Women's Hospital on July 31st, 1954. His mother, Winifred Dorothy James, formerly Sharp, was a homemaker, and his father, also Robert James, was a labourer. He was the 4th of 5 children, and he grew up not too far from where we are now, in Brunswick. He attended Brunswick Primary School and later Brunswick Secondary College, before graduating in engineering and economics. His young adult life was spent working various jobs and spending time with a lovely young lady named Sandra, who he met through mutual family friends. Sandra recalls Robert picking her up from her mum's place to take her dancing. Robert assured Sandra's mum that he would bring her home on time. Robert and Sandra's first date was spent dancing and, of course, having a few drinks. It didn't take long at all before they realised what they had together was love. Robert and Sandra married at the Salvation Army in Preston on August 20th, 1977. Robert and Sandra always enjoyed going for day trips and long drives together. They also loved going to the footy together, and their marriage managed to survive even though one was a Carlton supporter and the other Collingwood. Like most couples, Robert and Sandra had their ups and downs, but they were always there for each other, and their love for one another never subsided. Along came Kylie in 1978, Gordon in 1985, and finally Tara in 1986. Kylie, Gordon and Tara described their dad to me as very caring, firm but fair, and very involved. Although he worked extremely hard, he always allowed time to attend school concerts, functions. He loved taking them camping, as well as keeping time at Gordon's football matches. Gordon told me that his dad actually holds the record of 1,500 matches that he kept time for at the Coburg Newlands Football Club, something he was extremely proud of. Go Cobras. Robert was also awarded a Life Membership Achievement Award at the Newlands Football Club for his countless hours of contribution towards the club, and he was awarded the Broadmeadows Kangaroos Football Club Glendine Memorial Award, also for his valuable contribution. And as I mentioned earlier, Robert was an extremely hard worker. He had various jobs throughout his life, including a grocery delivery man, paper route, taxi driver, window cleaner, scrap metal removals, engineer, you name it, Robert did it. Gordon described him to me as your modern-day Superman. As young kids, Robert was their hard-working dad, but as they grew up and became young adults, he also became a friend. Robert was always determined to do the things that he wanted and to do the things that brought him the most joy. He very much enjoyed the simple things in life. But what Robert was most passionate about was the people he shared this journey of life with. His beautiful wife Sandra, his children, extended family and friends. Whether they had known him for many years or had only met him in the last few months, Robert had time for everyone. He liked individuals and what set them apart from everyone else, always accepting people for who they were. He knew how to love and care for the people around him unconditionally. Robert has had an everlasting impact on the people around him, especially his family, and I have no doubt he's going to be greatly missed. His company, his cheeky sense of humour, his smile, he certainly lived a very happy life. If there is anyone here today who would also like to come up and share in some memories they have of Robert, I welcome you now.
Rob was a lovable husband who I'm really sadly going to miss. The first day I met him, I fell in love with him, and I'll always love him. You say something, Jill, if you want.
Hello, everybody. I was Robert's sister, and I'm still Robert's sister. No matter where he goes in his journey, and he's been a beautiful brother to me, and his nieces too. And I can remember one time waiting for him. I had to go and do night shift, and then just had a couple of drinks, and then he came in, and yeah. But any time I want to see him, or could you do this for me or whatever, he's there. He's always been there for his family, like all marriages, up and down. But we still strive together for all of us, and it'll be that way. Thank you.
Yeah, Rob, we're going to miss you, mate. You're just an unbelievable bloke, and thanks for all the times, you know, you took us motorbike riding, the boys, and just all the support that you gave my family and my brother Paige and my sister Paige and brother Clint. You're just an unbelievable, magnetic bloke, and I remember everyone, every time you're in the room or you're around, you always, you know, everyone always listened to what you said, and you had the best advice. We're going to miss you. I love you, mate.
Hi, I'm Samantha, Shelley's daughter. Rob was my uncle. He helped me move into my unit that I'm still in now. I remember the last time I saw Sandra and Robert, they came to my house, had coffee, biscuits. He was full of life. He's joking. He's going, "Oh, why haven't you got a man yet?" I'm like, "I'm always working." I go, "I don't have time for a man yet." and we're waiting for I go, I don't think Mum knows you're coming. Hold on. So I give her a call and I go, Robin and Sandra. Oh, I've got to go have a shower. I've got to go. And she didn't realise he was coming. And I'm like, okay, so we waited. We have a nice little chat. But, yeah, but he's always been there for Mum, Sandra, the whole family, Hazel, everyone. He'll dearly be missed. Yes, at least he's not in any more pain now. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
What could I say that hasn't already been said? I mean, I could start from what was said before about him being a hard worker, and he was till the end. But he still had time for each and everyone here and anyone that's watching on the live streams. And one of the things that I believe that I learned was that nothing is given for granted and everything is earned, whether it be the hard way or the easy way. And believe it or not, his way usually would be the hard way. He'd never listen. It was always like, nope, this is the way it's got to be done. I value your opinion, but this is the way I'm going with it. So I just went, well, okay, just go with it. And even when I think back over time to playing football with various friends, cousins that can't be here, like Michael. I remember one game, I think it was, we were playing a game against Research, which is up by just past Greensboro. And one morning, like, we got to the ground and like the ground was like completely covered in mud. You couldn't even get up the hill where the ground was. And we're like, okay, so we're going up there. And like I said to Dad, I said, I'm feeling the car. The car's feeling like it's not level. It feels like it's slanting. He goes, no, it's okay. It'll get up there. And I'm going, no, something's not right. Anyway, I wind down the window, I stick my head out and I'm going, Dad, you do realise the front tyre's like about this far off the ground. And he's like, no, we'll get up there, we'll be right. Anyway, we start slanting more and he's like, nope, go get the rest of the boys, we need to get them up, we need to get them down here to level this car out to make sure it gets up the hill. So, anyway, we get up there and I remember getting a phone call about probably 20 minutes before the game start from Michael saying, that Mum's car's broken down, so we're going to have to find someone to drive all the way to, I think it was Greensboro at the time, and somehow arrange for Michael to actually get to the game. And we told Michael the night before he could have come and stayed at my house, and we could have just drove up in one car. But no, had to be, no, I'll be there. And like, the funniest thing was that Michael was actually late getting to the game, and he actually got told that he couldn't play, which my dad was really annoyed about, because he turned around and he said, oh, come on, these guys, they work a lot better playing alongside each other than one of them sitting on the sideline. And basically, that was just the way he was. That he wanted it his way so bad that he would actually literally turn around and say, this is the way it's going, and that's it, even though that there are rules that had to be adhered to. And that record of 1,500 time keep games, that still stands to this day and it will never be broken. And I'll tell you what, that's like getting to the ground before the games get underway. The first game would be like at 8:30 in the morning, and like as soon as that game would finish, on to the next one, so on and so forth. By 3 o'clock he'd be annoyed because he's still got a game to time keep for and the bar's completely open. He'd be like, oh, come on. And then he'd be like, son, and I'd be like, what? He'll go, can you go get me a beer and bring it to me while I'm still here? I'm like, no, you've got to stick to the rules and time keep the last game, then you can have a drink. he's like, all right. So he timekeeps the games. And then once the day would be over, I'd be out doing my usual things, kicking the footy out on the ground and stuff like that. And I turn around and I'm like, okay, he's not up at the car. He's not helping putting the equipment away, so where could he be? I walk inside the rooms. Here he is, behind the bar, taking everyone's order. Mind you, he's tapping one on for himself. So he's got like a whole line of a bar. Like people would be buying like wine, or they'd be buying a can of Coke, and he'd be like, right, there's a can of Coke for you, there's a wine for you, here's a beer for me, here's another beer for me. And then I'd be like, Dad, it's like 8:30 at night. Mum's going to be calling you in about 5 minutes saying she's going to kill you if we don't get home in one piece. And he'd be like, no, we'll be right. 11:30 that night, still out. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, Dad, do you see what's on your phone right now? And he's like, no, I can't see 2 feet in front of me. I said, well, then that means you're pissed. What are you doing driving? Anyway, he'd turn around and he'd go, okay, I know it's coming. So we'd get home. There's that look. She'd be looking at him like, if you weren't my husband and you weren't the father of my children, I would have killed you by now. You know? And he'd be like, oh, it's okay, it's only just a one-off. You know, it won't happen again. 3 days later after training, same thing. He'd be gone. Like, he'd still go out there and help the boys train and get prep for the next week and that. But that's also in the line of drinking and smoking and whatnot. He'd be going, oh, it's all a part of the process of talking to the coaches and like telling them how they should be coaching a game, right? And that brings me to another story which is really hilarious. One of the coaches, he got, I think it was salmonella poisoning, and he couldn't coach one of the games on game day. So they're going, well, who wants to coach the under-17s? And everyone's going, nope, those boys are rambunctious, forget about it. All right, I turned around and I went like this. I went and grabbed the timekeeper's thing. This is the only timekeeping game that he never timekeeped. I took the game and I said, I'll do it. I've watched him for a number of years, so I'll do it. And it's like clockwork. I mean, how hard could it be? You start a clock, game starts, quarter ends, start the clock again, so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, look out, here he comes, right? All the under 17 players are like, oh, we've got no coach grouse, we can run whatever we like. I said, hey boys, think again. Have a look who's inside the locker room. They all walk in and they're going, oh shit. They're going, here we go. They knew that when he was in there, that it was drill sergeant. But basically like the army, you know. Like he had the, like, how can I say it? He had everyone that like loved and cared for him, but they also knew that when it was time for the game to go on, it's 100% okay, boss, whatever you say goes. Simple as that. And moving on, as most of you know, apart from football, me and my dad's bond, of course, wrestling. You know, I remember one time I wouldn't even remember exactly how clear this is. If you ask me anything about wrestling, bottom line, I know. But this, I think it was about 4 years of age, I think. And we were living in Grom Place at the time. And I remember one night I could hear noise coming from downstairs. I'm like, okay. I mean, not the rude kind of noises that you would hear, but I'd hear something, and I'm like, okay. So I go walking down, and I'm walking past Mum and Dad's bedroom, and I could hear Mum sleeping. I'm like, okay, what's he up to down there? I pop my head around the door. Here he is, on the couch, in all his glory, pillow there, beer on the table, blanket on, and he's watching, I think it was Superstars of Wrestling at the time, with the old legends, you know. Not going to name them all because I'll be here all day. But he'd be watching it, and I'd be just like, this is my first time watching this. I'm like, wow, I didn't realise people could actually do that and get away with it, you know, because I thought it was like assaulting someone and you get arrested. And then he heard me sneeze, and he goes, what are you doing up? I said, I couldn't sleep. So he goes, all right, as a kid does when you're that age, puts me under the blanket, I'm laying there and I'm just watching it with him. And I think on that day, I believe everyone would have cursed this because, like, every day since that day, all I ever do is either watch wrestling, talk about wrestling, or football-related stuff. And, like, the one common wrestler that him and I both could agree on as one of our favourites of all time was The Undertaker. And as I do, Father's Day gift, a tie with The Undertaker. And any kind of function, he would not wear a tie, right? Like, he wouldn't wear it. Like, even this one, I said, can you wear it just once? He's like, nope, would not wear it. Because he didn't want to get it damaged because of sentimental reasons. As you can see by majority of the items over at the mural, that all of those items there had some sort of sentimental value to him, even though they didn't mean anything to anyone else. And when I set that up, I turned around and I said, well, how can I set it up to where it would be up to his expectations of what it would be, you know? And I figured, well, okay, the times that we're in, you know, this room would be filled with people going out into the car park, into the street, because that's the kind of man he was. But I figured, well, okay, this mural is going to be something that he would love and would love to be known for. And various people in those photos are either people that are no longer with us spiritually, they are here, but mentally and physically not here. But there are also some photos there of people that are still with us but would like to be here but can't due to COVID-19 and the restrictions, which, by the way, he'd be saying stay indoors or otherwise I'd make sure you stay indoors. But you know what the odd thing is that he would tell you to stay indoors, but yet he'd be the one outside working in this condition. People turn around and say, oh, you've got to get a work permit to work. He'd be like, I'll tell you where that permit can go, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm doing things my way. And just about every item over there is some sort of memory, not just in my existence, but my sisters who were here last night, they read a poem that they both wrote and is in with him, because I didn't want to take up so much time by reading both of them out because we'd be here all day. And, like, as I said, I remember the first time I saw that electric guitar case with the Carlton emblem on it. It was at the Pipeworks when it was opened. I seen that and I literally ran right across the complex and I pulled on Dad's shirt and I go, come here. I took him over and he goes, what did you want to show me? I showed him at first I showed him the Collingwood one. And he goes, what are you showing me the Collingwood one for? I said, I'm trying to drop a hint for a Mother's Day present, which I know you've forgotten about. And he's like, no, I haven't forgotten it. I've got the usual chocolate and roses and everything else all lined up. I said, yeah, okay. Mind you, he didn't have that lined up. He actually had that lined up after he said that to me. So anyway, I showed him the Collingwood one and he figured, well, if I'm buying the Collingwood one for her, I'll buy the Carlton one for myself. So he did. He bought it as a 2-deal set. The small plaque, which is the Coburg Newlands Cobras trophy, that's only just one trophy of many trophies that I would have liked to have bought in. And that one there, it says contributing helper, meaning that even if he was working and like doing various jobs and that, as said earlier, he still found time to go to the club rooms, whether I was playing at Newlands or Broadmeadows or various other clubs, and he'd always find the time to sit down with each individual player, not just as a group, but also separately. And like, he'd take what he would learn from when he was playing many years ago. He kept telling me numerous stories, which I won't get into right now. But he he would contribute by saying that to a guy, like he'd be going like, look, I noticed you're getting in under there and you're getting the ball and that, and you're trying to get it out by kicking the ball, but if you're about to be tackled, why try to kick it when you can handball it? You know, it doesn't matter if your teammate's 2 inches away from you or a country mile away. You know, you hit it as hard as you could. You know what I mean? I mean, even Sean can attest to this. When Sean come down and had a couple of games with the seniors and reserves at Coburg, during just training drills, he would literally drill you whether he knew who you were or he didn't know who you were. All right, he'd go, look, I don't know who you are, I really don't care what your name is, but I'm going to drill you until you get it right, even if I had to keep you out here all night, which he did to me numerous times. I'm like, can we go home now? He'd go, nope. He'd go, you either get this drill right or it's 100 suicides up the hill. I'm like, God, he's going to kill me before I even hit 20. But that's just the way he was. But he also still had a softer side that not many people saw it, but when they did, they think, that's a totally different guy altogether. Totally different guy. But I'd say that it's the same guy because he didn't want people to see the softer side of him because he felt that would be a sign of weakness, which in this day and age, weakness is okay to portray out to the world, you know, because if there's no weakness, then there's no strength. And with the Rex Hunt autobiography over there, that's a representation of, I think it was the week before the 99 grand final between Carlton and North Melbourne, where we went down to a fishing expedition over in Waverley Parkway, and he heard through a grapevine that Rex Hunt was going to be there doing a meet and greet, so he thought, oh yeah, I'd love to meet this guy and talk fishing. He'd talk fishing until the cows come home. And the one thing that, we went down there all day, we looked at all, fishing rods, reels, surf reels, boats, you name it, we looked at everything. And the one thing that he never got a chance to do was to meet Rex Hunt, because we'd found out through various sponsors that Rex Hunt was there the day before, which was sad. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I would have loved to have met that guy myself, you know. I mean, how many people in this room, let alone watching on the podcast, can say that they met Rex Hunt, you know what I mean? That would be cool. And the reason for that book being there is because I promised someone who can't be with us because of restrictions, Reggie, that his autobiography would be the centrepiece, because inside that book was an inscription from Reggie to Dad saying that none of his book would be possible without the contribution that Dad gave with him earlier on. Like I said, with Dad, he's a modern day Superman because he was. Whether it be delivering the paper as a kid, to grocery delivery man, to scrap metal removalist. He even done tree lopping for a living as well. And most of that couldn't have been done without the various people, not just in this room, but also on social media, that had their jobs that they said they needed help with something, or, you know, they're thinking, well, who's the guy that I'd look to help me out? He'd be the first one in line every time. You know, he'd be like, okay, what do you want me to do? They'd be like, oh, can you back up your truck to the job site so we can load up all the rubbish on there? As most of you would remember, that big massive truck he had, the tipper, as we call it. And the one thing that he would never let me do when I was young, he'd never let me pull the lever to release the truck up to get rid of the rubbish. He'd always wait until I was an appropriate age. One time, I said, okay, I'm going to fix you. I'm going to fix you real good. So we're in the middle of a job, all right, and everyone's loading up, and Reggie's loaded up and everything, right? The truck wasn't on, but I pulled the lever anyway, right? And as my dad goes, all right, time to go, got to get rid of this load, jumps in, starts the truck up, goes to drive off, and then he realises by looking through his rear view mirror that the tipper's going up. He's going, you little mongrel. He's going, what did you do that for? He goes, do you realise you could have killed someone behind with that load dropping? And I'm like, well, I didn't know it was going to do that. I just thought it was going to stay in that position and not move. I thought it was just going to go up to one spot and that's it, but it went right up. And he's like, well, next time, ask. I'm like, okay. Every day then I asked. No word, no lie about it. I would literally turn around and say, can I pull the lever now? And he'd be like, all right, go on. He goes, I don't know why I even bothered to turn to pull that handle anymore, because that kid's already there waiting to pull the bloody thing. And what was the most important piece of information? The one important thing that he always told me was to take everything as is and never ever look back. Look on, like in the back of your mind, you can look into fond memories, happy memories, sad memories, ones that you wish you'd forget. And he'd be like, don't even bother giving them a second look. Just keep looking at the happier memories. And I know right now that he's literally in spirit standing right here. And he's just looking at the people in here and he's like, man, I'll tell you what, I could tell you stories about each and every one in this room. Stories. I will admit, there's even stories that he'd be saying, you know what, these people are going to be saying, do not say that, because that's not how I've said it. Say it correctly. Or he'd be like, that's exactly how it's supposed to be coming out, but I don't think the person would like that to be told. And I'd be like, okay, that's good. And there's so many various people that I'd like to just, on behalf of not only myself but my family, there's so many people that there's too many to mention by individual name, but what can I say, Stan? Basically, as you know, he gave you help when you needed it, and you didn't hesitate to ask for his assistance, you know what I mean? And I thank you for that very much. Likewise with Patrick and family. You guys, man, I'll tell you what, anytime you need me, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be there. I'm 100% saying this from the bottom of my heart now. And what can I say about the Collins family? They were pretty much my second family. I'd like for all of, Uncle John, Paige, they're up there, they're with Dad, hanging out, as people do. And then you got Jan and Sean, two people I've got all the time in the world for you guys. We leave all the bad stuff behind. It's all done, And I know Clint's probably watching this somewhere. Man, I feel you. I love you and miss you too, mate. Watching on the social media pages right now. There's various other family members which right now escape my thoughts, but every thanks that's coming right now is directed at everybody. Not just related family members, but extended family members, even football members. Man, I'll tell you what, I don't even think thanks is even the right word to say it, you know what I mean? But it's internally grateful coming from me that you guys are taking time out from your various things that you're doing to be here, and you're not just representing yourselves personally, you're representing other people that can't be here due to restrictions or have passed on, and I thank you for it very much. Now, the final thought, as I said about me and my dad having a common bond for wrestling, and our favourite wrestler being The Undertaker. As most of you know, my teen years, I used to do a lot of imitation voices, right? Like imitating voices from The Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, various people, I done it, And I figured that the only way I can send him off the right way in my eyes, and you guys might not understand it, but I'm going to do it anyway, This is for you. Dad, you can now rest in peace. Thank you.
Let's now take some time to look back on some of the family's favourite pictures that they have of Robert.
Working hard to make a living, bringing shelter from the rain. My father's son left to carry on, blue denim in his veins. Whoa, he's a working class man. Well, he's a steel-time disciple. Well, he's a legend of his hand. He's running like a cycle across the wild Midwestern sky. Oh, he's a working class man. Believing God and Elvis. He gets out when he can. He did his time in Vietnam. Still mad and understand. He's a simple man with a heart of gold in a complicated land. Oh, he's a working class man. Well, he loves a little woman. Someday he'll make his wife, saving all the overtime for the one love of his life. He ain't worried about tomorrow, because he just made up his mind. Life's too short for burning red. We'll take it one day at a time. He's a working class man. Oh, yeah. Yes, he is. Oh, he's a working class
I'd now like to deliver a reading on behalf of Robert's family. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he is gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry, close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what he would want, smile, open your eyes, love and go on. We have now reached the part of the service where we must say our final goodbyes to Robert. The hardest part of losing someone isn't having to say goodbye, but rather learning to live without them. Although he is no longer physically here, he will live on in your hearts and in your memories. Each of you, whether a member of Robert's family or a friend, has been touched by your experiences with Robert, and each of you will remember those moments. Robert will be leaving the chapel today for a private cremation. If I could now ask that you please stand for the closing of the service. The time has come to farewell Robert. Be grateful once more for the impact of his life on yours. Remember his kind heart, his generous and positive spirit, his love for life, and the love that he shared with you in his time on this earth. May you find happiness in your memories of Robert. May you find strength and support in your love for one another. May you find peace in your hearts today. May you rest in peace, Robert.
Send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark blues. Send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark blues. We are the Navy Blues, we are the old you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that